What's up, guys? It's Brittany, and welcome to Randomness. Today, we are talking about something that I think every single person listening can relate to on some level: self-sabotage. You know, that thing where you're finally making progress on something important to you, and then you just stop, or you pick a fight with your partner for no reason, or you stay up scrolling on your phone when you have an important meeting early in the morning. Yeah, well, that stuff. And here's the thing, we all do it. Every single one of us has gotten in our own way at some point. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, that's me, trust me, you're not alone. So let's talk about why this happens and what we can actually do about it. Okay, so first things first, why do we do this to ourselves? Like, it seems completely irrational, right? If we want something, why would we actively work against ourselves? Well, it turns out our brains are actually trying to protect us. And I know that sounds kind of weird when the result is us messing up our own lives, but yeah. One of the biggest reasons we self-sabotage is actually fear of success. Not failure, but success. Because success means change. It means new responsibilities, new expectations, maybe even a new version of yourself. And our brains, they hate change. Change feels dangerous, even when it's good. And think about it. You start losing weight and suddenly you're anxious about the attention. You get a promotion and you feel like an imposter. You meet someone great and you start finding problems that aren't really there. Your brain is literally going, whoa, 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 whoa. This is unfamiliar territory. Abort mission, abort mission. So, of course, fear of failure is huge too. If you never really try, you never really fail, right? It's the whole you miss 100% of the shots you don't take thing, except our brains are like, but if I don't take the shot, I also don't miss it. Procrastination is a perfect example. When you put something off until the last minute, you have a built-in excuse if it doesn't go well. You know, like, oh, I only had 2 hours to work on it. It's a safety net. Here's a tough one. Sometimes we self-sabotage because deep down, we don't believe we deserve good things. Maybe you grew up with criticism, or you've internalized some messages about not being good enough. So when good things start happening, there's this voice that goes, this isn't for people like me. And you unconsciously push it away. It's like you're trying to make your external reality match your internal belief system. If you believe you're not worthy of love, you will find ways to prove that to yourself. It's heartbreaking, but it is so common. Even misery can be comfortable if it's familiar. Your brain recognizes patterns, and even if those patterns suck, at least they're predictable. Starting a new chapter means uncertainty, and uncertainty activates our threat response. So you stay in the job you hate, the relationship that's not working, the city where you're unhappy, because at least you know what to expect. So let's get specific here, because sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. Procrastination is the obvious one, but there's also picking fights, especially right when things are going well. There's negative self-talk that becomes a self-fulfilling type of thing. You know, there's refusing help when you need it because you should be able to do it alone. There's perfectionism, which people don't always recognize as self-sabotage, but it totally is. If your standards are so high that you can never meet them, you're basically guaranteeing failure. There's self-medicating with food, alcohol, scrolling, shopping, anything to avoid dealing with what's actually going on. And there's ghosting opportunities, right? Like not responding to that email about the job you wanted, or not following up on that creative project that you were so excited about. So how do we stop? Okay, so here's the big part. How do we break these patterns? Awareness is step one. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Start noticing when you're doing it, not from a place of judgment. Just observe. Like, oh, I'm picking a fight right after we had a really nice weekend together. Just notice the pattern without beating yourself up about it. And get curious about the fear. When you catch yourself self-sabotaging, ask, what am I afraid of here? What's the worst thing that could happen if this actually worked out? What would change? Sometimes just identifying the fear takes away some of its power. You realize the thing you're afraid of isn't actually that scary, or you can handle it better than you think. If you notice you're operating from a belief like, I don't deserve this, or people like me don't get these opportunities, challenge it. Where'd that belief come from? Is it actually true? Would you say that to a friend? And start collecting evidence against those beliefs. And every time something good happens, write it down. Build a case against your own negative assumptions. And take tiny steps, Don't try to overhaul everything at once. That's actually another form of self-sabotage. Setting yourself up with unrealistic expectations. So take the smallest possible step forward. If you're procrastinating on a project, commit to working on it for like 10 minutes. If you're pushing someone away, maybe just send one text that is honest and vulnerable. Because small steps build momentum and prove to your brain that change does not have to be threatening. Get support if you need to. This is huge, Talk to someone about what you're going through. A therapist, a friend, a coach, whoever. Self-sabotage thrives in isolation. When you bring it into the light and share it with someone who gets it, it loses some of its grip. Plus, other people can help you see your blind spots and call you out lovingly when you are doing the thing again. And practice self-compassion. This is maybe the most important one because you're probably going to slip up. You're going to self-sabotage again, even after you've recognized the pattern, and that's okay. That's normal. Treat yourself the way you would treat a good friend who's struggling, with kindness, understanding, and encouragement, not harsh criticism. The criticism is probably part of what got you here in the first place. And try to make success less scary by redefining it. Success doesn't have to mean becoming a completely different person. It can just mean being a little bit braver today than you were yesterday, or trying something even if it doesn't work out. And remember, you can handle whatever comes your way. You've handled everything up until this point, haven't you? So that's what I've got for you today. Self-sabotage is one of those things that can feel really lonely and shameful, but I promise you, everyone is dealing with some version of this. The fact that you're here listening to this, thinking about your patterns, that's already a huge step. That's awareness. That's the beginning of change. So be patient with yourself because breaking these patterns takes time. Some days you'll nail it. Some days you'll fall right back into the old habits. And both of those days are okay, So if this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear about it. Send a message. I have the email address. It's in the description, but it is randomness01 mail.com, just at mail.com. I'd love to hear about it, let me know. Just take a second to acknowledge yourself for showing up and doing the work, guys, okay? All right, guys, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, y'all, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to hit that follow button and share randomness with a friend, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.